All right, so just to let you guys know, I already start recording. So this video probably is for archive, or like after that we'll do some social media promotion. And we have more and more people coming here. All right, and I guess like 1 minute left. All right, it's the time. Should we start, Gokhan?
Yes, we can start.
All right. Hi, Pol.
Hello, guys. How are you doing? Well, good morning or good afternoon. I'm not sure. Good morning for me.
Yeah, and good to see you guys for good morning, afternoon, or good evening, whatever. All right, so let's get it started. All right, so hello, everyone. Welcome to IOSG's first Kickstarter connection party. And it was so nice to meet all of you guys here. So we're here to talk, to share, and to connect. All right, Marek's coming. And I'm Asme from IOSG Ventures, and I'm also one of the hosts today. And my partner, Gokhan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and hear what you guys have to say. This is Gokhan. I'm the principal of IOSG at the Shenzhen office. I will be the host along with Asme, and looking forward to all of it.
All right, so we're also glad to have our mentors today from top of the industry. They're founders, entrepreneurs, and tech savvy with great wealth of experience and skills and solid background. So they all play the key roles in the growth of the ecosystem and decentralized economy. So it's my pleasure to introduce all of them here. And Xinshu, from IOSG Ventures is also our partners. Do you want to introduce a bit about IOSG or the event today?
Sure. Thanks, Asmi. Hey, everyone. It's great to meet all of you, and it's especially great to meet everyone today, right? As Bitcoin reached 60,000 again, something to really celebrate for. And what is even more fantastic is that we have, a great lineup of mentors. Some are like super experienced in building products. Some are very good at, launching communities in various parts of the world. And some certainly have, great experience advising early stage projects. And we have a select few aspiring founders who are going to present very interesting projects. So it's really, one of the rarest opportunities where we can have very interesting interactions. And at IOSG, why we are organizing such events, right? Just a little bit background. I mean, we believe it's very important and it's critical to the growth of the space to help all these early stage founders as they just embark on their entrepreneurial journey. And providing a little bit of funding support is the minimum we can do. But more importantly, we want to provide all the guidance support that they will need, today being one of them. So I hope all of you will enjoy today's sessions. And we're always here to help, whenever needed, in whichever we need it, whether it's throughout the session today or it's after that. Just let us know if, the founders have any needs, talk to us, or if the mentors have any suggestions, also please do not hesitate to let us know. So without further ado, I'll just hand it over back to our MCs today.
Thank you, Xinshu. And this is also what I want to say, IOSG. So we are also, we are always here to help. So for every project from Kickstarter or other mentors from the industry, our founders or any other entrepreneurs. So if you guys have any special requests or any needs and wants you want us to just help you with, just feel free to let us know. And I think this is also the goals and objectives. That's why we have our Kickstarter connection party today. And just allow me to introduce our mentors today for each of you. So we would love to express our warmest welcome and express our sincere gratitude to all of you here. So if you guys want to open a camera, just feel free to do so. Let me just start it. So first, we would love to thank Aidan Hyman. He's the co-founder and CEO from ChainSafe, which is building the infrastructure for Web3. He taught himself web development and a big advocate for open source projects and code. And then later we want to say Marek Laskowski. He's the CTO from OpenDefi. He's also the co-founder of Blockchain Lab at the Solik School of Business at York University. And he's also the co-founder of Toronto Blockchain Week. And later we will have Corey Pigott. He's a senior associate on investment team, and he's currently lead sourcing and due diligence for pre-seed and seed stage startups for Open Web Collective. And later we have Don Lab. He's the founder of Coin98. His is an all-in-one multi-chain DeFi platform. He was also a serial entrepreneur and an early investor on Threadchain, Band Protocol, Alpha Finance, and more. And later we have Calvin Chu. He's probably a little bit late, but we will have him in probably like a couple minutes later. So he's a core builder from Impossible Finance. Which is a multi-chain decentralized incubator, Launchpad and Swap. He previously worked on research and diligence for Binance Launchpad and built up the Binance staking product. And later we have Yaoqi Jia from the Asia lead from Polkadot. He's also our IOSG's advisor. He built and invests in Web3, leading Asia team at Parity Polkadot, and also the initiator for Web3 Bootcamp. He's also the co-founder and ex-CTO at Zilliqa. And later we have Deniz. Deniz, he's the founder and CEO of Ethereum Central. He's also the venture partner of IOSG Ventures. He also the head of the ecosystem growth from Kyber Network. And we have John Wu. He's the core developer of LittleTree. He focused on Polkadot paraching development. He's also the advisor for IOSG Ventures. And later we have Josie Lin. He's the founding partner of IOSG Ventures. And we have Xin Shu. He's also the founder of IOSG Ventures. So welcome, guys. Thank you for present here today. And we would like you guys to enjoy the party here. Thank you. And Gökhan, do you want to bring the first team to the stage?
Yeah, before that, let me just briefly give you guys an idea about how the structure is going to be. So we're going to invite all the projects based on alphabetical order. Each project will have basically 20 minutes. 10 minutes is on the side that we expect the projects to make a presentation. And there will be an additional 10 minutes of presentation, or brain date, we call it, where founders can ask the mentors some of the questions that they're curious about, some of the aspects that they want to receive feedback about. And of course, the mentors can comment on the presentation, comment on the project, and ask some additional questions to the founders. So this will be the structure, basically. And let's just proceed with the first project that we have, Archivist. Asaf, the founder of Archivist, will present the Archivist project. Archivist is basically a cybersecurity solution. It is providing real-time risk intelligence on smart contracts, and it's allowing its customers to access the long-tail DeFi opportunities as it increases the confidence of investors in these projects. So Asaf, would you like to go over and start the presentation?
Yeah, thank you. So, actually, after your introduction, I don't know what I have left to explain. Like, you explained it so good already. So, yeah, that's it, guys. Any questions? Is it possible to share my screen just so I have something like?
Yeah, sure. So
currently is disabled.
yeah, just click it. please share screen.
Oh, great. Okay, so this is just the deck, so I have it on the side, so I can use it yeah, to demonstrate some stuff. So first of all, thank you all for your time, all the mentors. I'm really glad and excited to be here. Like really glad to get all this value. So thank you so much. Definitely means a lot for an early stage founder. So my name is Asaf Orpani. I'm the CEO and founder of Archivist. I come from a background of security. I've been serving in the Israeli Defense Forces, security researcher, doing security research for around 10 years. And yeah, that's what I do. I came from the web domain, then moved on to autonomous cars, and now DeFi. So I've been doing security research of smart contracts for around a year and a half, something like this. And yeah, so thank you so much. So let's start with Archivist. Archivist is a cybersecurity solution, and we're providing a safe access to a wide array of long-tail DeFi investment opportunities in the secondary market. So either being yield farming, liquidity providing, buying tokens. So a lot of activity in the secondary market. We just provide investors with a safe access. So market opportunity, we obviously know. We know why we need such solution is because of fraud and chaos. Yeah, so $4 billion lost to DeFi, to smart contract security incidents since Genesis, which is, considering total value locked is around $100 billion. So it's actually 4% of DeFi stolen. And obviously, as DeFi will explode and grow even further, it will become more and more severe. So the reason I founded Archivist, like the problem that I noticed as a security researcher coming from a security background, is that obviously it was hard to notice every day or two a DeFi protocol getting hacked. And looking at current security solutions, there's just 3 problems with them, right? So the first one is they're improvident. They're not able to look into the future. They're doing a snapshot audit of the code at a specific time. And static meaning they're using a lot of static tools that like static analysis, nothing that is very dynamic and adaptive to the nature of smart contracts and blockchain. And basically the consumers of those security audits cannot take actions on them. So they're not actionable, they're just a piece of paper, they don't provide much value in the long run. So it leads to a various of market inefficiencies when talking to the market, from investors not being able to find a reliable security partner, to insurance protocols not being to perform a valuable or a reliable risk assessment process, and definitely a lack of infrastructure. We always hear it, that DeFi has a lack of infrastructure. Investors cannot find a secure and easy way to plug and play into the DeFi ecosystem and just invest in many opportunities because no such infrastructure provided. So I'll just say that our customers right now that Archivist is targeting is investors, starting with high net worth groups of investors like crypto whales, family offices, hedge funds. This is just for the MVP. Obviously, Archivist is destined to be open to everyone, the community, consumer-facing groups of investors. So everyone can just plug and play and invest in DeFi. And utilizing our technology, our customers are able to access those DeFi protocols, and we'll break down the technology to 3 main components. Okay, so the first one is predictive risk analysis. I also call it, in not so high level, like high level word, but very simple, is like an upgraded security audit. That means we do a regular security audit that companies do, but we also provide another side to it. That means that not only we try to identify immediate vulnerabilities, but also we try to look into the future and build a behavior profile, listing types of behaviors that are legitimate and illegitimate for a specific protocol in order to be able to understand how a smart contract operates. And I'll give an example later of how we do it. The second thing is real-time risk intelligence. That means that we're in real time monitoring and alerting the blockchain. We're just looking for anomalies, weird types, like bad types of behavior, malicious behaviors in smart contracts, transactions that may indicate funds are going to be compromised, and we just alert about them in real time. So obviously our customers can front run those DeFi threats. The third thing is a safe investment portal, meaning that as a security expert, I believe and I know that security risks are not only coming from one layer, from smart contracts, but do they also come from the website? So I've seen a lot of DeFi protocols that are asking for wallet permissions that they shouldn't ask, are redirecting investors to smart contract addresses that are not the ones that are audited, are not ones that are legitimate, and in case something in case something happens, for example, a rug pull, and then a website shuts down, then Archivist is always a reliable 24/7 dashboard that is up to serve its customers in many, many ways, and some sort of like an aggregator. This is basically the technology, just like I spoke about. The customers are on top. They're basically connecting to the safe investment dashboard. So consider it an aggregator like a Zapier, but also that has security capabilities behind, right? So the real-time monitoring and the predictive risk analysis that we're doing in order to alert about certain stuff that are happening in real time. If we were to compare a little bit to our competitors, I know a lot of you are already comparing in your heads, like how does it compare to this and that? So let's say that one of our biggest competitors just launched a couple of weeks ago. They called Forda of Open Zeppelin. You all know them, and they basically provide something that is very familiar: real-time monitoring and alerting. They're invested by Coinbase and Andreessen Horowitz and some from this domain, and definitely they're still very complex to use them. They're still on testnet. They're utilizing community incentive to do all that. Archivist's short-term strategy is a go-to-market strategy. Obviously, not the long-term vision. Is basically to create something that is very simple, is very bundled into something that is you can use immediately, and obviously it continues in real time. So we could just provide a dashboard that is already ready and is pre-bundled to investors, to those high net worth groups of investors, so they could just plug and play into DeFi protocols and not have to subscribe to stuff or do some stuff that is complicated. It's very straightforward. Obviously, when comparing to other security audit firms here in the bottom left, where they're very complex, they're one time, their consumers are basically the tech people. Right, so I say a lot of the times that security audits of security companies are like a kosher certificate, just to show the legitimacy of DeFi protocols, but it gives no value to DeFi investors because you cannot take action on it. It's not real time. And I'll give you an example that last month Cream Finance got hacked, right? About $12 million, if you guys heard of it. And this situation, Cream Finance's audit was very, very good. Like, it had no immediate risks. But the problem is that 2 weeks after the audit, they just upgraded their code, and nobody was able to tell about it because the security solution is static and is one time and is not basically tracking behaviors of smart contracts. And then it got hacked eventually, and many people were wondering, like, how could it have been hacked when the audit was secure? So the answer is that audits are not good enough for providing security, right? It's just a part of the puzzle. So this is me, and no need to explain too much. So definitely, like I said, we're going to build a product. We're going to pick a very few design partners, which are those crypto native family offices, hedge funds, whales, anybody that actually is able to start experimenting and has a lot of experience in DeFi investments in secondary market and can already test the product and bring value. And once we have this solid foundation of technology plus design partners that are customer cases, and we feel comfortable about providing actual value, then we will start considering to open this platform to consumer facing and many other areas. So this is basically much it. I'll just say shortly about Archivist. Right now, we're just raising a pre-seed. And we're getting the support of Galaxy Digital, NFX, obviously IOSG, and we're going forward to this direction. And yeah, we're looking forward to disrupt the DeFi market and provide a much more safer version of DeFi. So thank you. That's pretty much it.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Asaf, for the presentation. With that, let's maybe give it to the advisors and mentors. Would you like to ask some questions to Asaf? Mentors, advisors, please feel free to unmute yourself and start with the questions.
I guess I just explained so good, right? So no questions.
I guess everything's perfect enough.
Hi there.
I have one question regarding
go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I have one question. So, so I think the dashboard you're building is just, basically focused on the different investors. But as a founder, I'm also interested in, like becoming or using the audit service as well. So any kind of, services that you already thought about to offer to, teams who want to work with, with you.
So sorry, I didn't get the question. And is it fine if you like introduce yourself in 1-2 words, just so I can get a context?
So this is Thanh. So basically, we are, we work.
I didn't hear. Sorry, you were breaking out. Can you repeat?
Okay. So can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. So we so we are building a lot of contracts internally at Coin98 as well. So, from a project perspective, I think we are also interested in working with, a legitimate audit firm as well. And any, security firms that can really, help us to double check the code. One of the problems that we are seeing right now when we work with, with audit firm is very hard to get into the pipeline. Let's say that if you are your code is ready, and then when you work with a audit firm and you need to book like 3 months later or 6 months later before your code is audited. You are a startup. You want to launch the product very quickly. So so I think this is one of the demand and one of the problems. Our own problem as well. So I didn't find any solutions right now for us where we can, do a quick audit or kind of like save stamp. So we can launch it first, and then we come back and we do another, another audit or something like that. If you can, offer those kind of services, I think a lot of people will use it, and then I will be the customers as well.
Yeah. So just to repeat what you were saying, so we make sure that I understand properly, is that you're saying as a DeFi project, you're looking for an auditing firm that doesn't tell you that they will be able to do the audit only in a couple of months, right? Because they're very slow. So you're looking for someone to help you get to market as soon as possible, because that's your goal as a DeFi project, right? To protocol is basically to get out to the market as soon as possible, right? Am I correct? What you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
and then based on that, I think we might interested in maybe we can segment the risk of the contract. It's gonna be like user risk or risk on the protocol, or so we segment it into different kind of risk, and then based on that we can do a trade-off between the risk. So we can decide that when should we launch the protocol.
Right. So definitely Archivist is vision in the long term is to also work with DeFi protocols and be able to open up like accessibility for the DeFi market with providing a security audit and risk assessment and everything about it. So actually we're targeting long tail DeFi investment opportunities. So that's also considering new projects. And I think there's definitely mutual interest that you pointed out here, is that we would be able to take your project on and perform a very fast audit to it, and obviously help you with get to market as soon as possible. And I think that the value for different projects working with archivists is that they're not only displaying like this kosher certificate of security audit, but they're also able to onboard to our platform where we actually provide real-time value to investors. So they will be able to provide a lot more credibility towards their investors, right? Because it is being monitored 24/7, and you don't just send out a report in PDF or something like this. One thing that I have to say about the problem that, you know, there is crazy demand for security, right? That's why those the security audit firms are taking so much time to take your project, and you have to pay a lot for it and stuff like this. So there's crazy demand. I'm not saying that archivists will be any better in terms of we might be bombarded with projects as well, and will take time too. But then the value we bring in terms of showing how credible a project is much higher. But does it make sense?
Yep. My last question is like, you are trying to, you know, build this as a platform where DeFi investors can access, you know, into a set of protocols in a safe manner. So all the protocols are in the dashboard is already verified by you, right? And then people need to pay for that kind of services.
Yes. So the people pay for being able to access an array of DeFi protocols that Archivist has audited and verified its security and monitored. So you would never find a protocol on our platform that is very risky or with immediate risks, right? So we have a very, very rigorous criteria, like very criteria that is very strict, and we pick before onboarding a protocol. So for example, every sensitive functions like minting tokens, upgrading smart contracts logic, stuff like that, they have to be behind a time lock with a reasonable time to react, right? And I think like this is what different protocols do out there, because a protocol out there with minting functionality or upgradability with no time lock is a red flag everywhere. No, like nobody will trust them. So I think it's like the minimum. But then, yeah, we have like this criteria that we ask for protocols, or, you know, we check about protocols before onboarding. And, you know, later on that Archivist grows and becomes big, and a lot of DeFi investors will use it, I think it will bring the value that, you know, once we bring a lot of value to the DeFi protocols and we become like this, you know, Gartner for companies. So we basically are the stamp of security. Then DeFi protocols are kind of forced, you know, into being this high standard of security, implementing like a set of stuff that we say is good for being secure and showing credibility. And that is how we make the DeFi ecosystem a lot more safer. So if that answers your question.
Yep, thank you.
Great. Maybe we can take one more question from the mentors, if there's any. Otherwise, we can proceed with Asaf's questions, if there's any specific part that you want to get feedback on us. Let's wait for mentors quickly.
Anyone have any comments for that? Just to let you guys know, just feel free to unmute yourself at any time and open the camera to talk with us. And we will also have some text on the chat board, so you can just check it any time when you want to catch up something. If everything's good, I think we can move to the next part.
Sure. I think Marek has shared his comments. Maybe Asaf, you would like to check on the message box. And with that, thanks a lot, Asaf. Thanks a lot, Thanh and Marek, for questions and comments. Let's proceed to the next project in that case.
All right, sure. Okay, so thank you for the awesome speech and presentation from Archivist. So next we will gonna have comment. All right, thank you, Asaf. I think you can just end up sharing screen.
Oh no, but I like my screen. No,
No problem, you
okay.
can just keep it here. I like it too. Just keep it here.
It's like a commercial, a free commercial.
All right, so I will just pin it whenever you want me to end it.
Yeah.
All right, so
Okay.
I'm gonna introduce the next team. Of course, you can have your face right here, so you can just have like a face-to-face chat with him. All right, so next one will be Comet. So they allow sending encrypted message to Ethereum address. So in the blockchain space, trustless communication is important. All of us know that, and almost like necessary. So Comet allowed us to type an address to get in touch with and send a message that only the owner of the address will be able to decrypt. So this will be the first step toward a Web3 social network, which was also the Comet aims to be. So I think it's time to welcome Raphaël to share his screen and do us the demo presentations for Comet. Welcome. Just click share screen whenever you like, and just feel free to start it.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'll share my screen right now. So yeah, let me do it. Okay. And this is the presentation. Okay. Normally you can see it right now. So, okay. So as the title of the presentation suggests, Comet lets you send encrypted message to Ethereum addresses. Now, for the name, some of you might be aware that there is a similar service, not similar service, but a similar game with the same name. So I might change it in the future. But anyways, this is for communication. So I'll go through the what, the why, the how, and then I'll discuss a bit the future improvements that can be made. And then I will make a demo of the platform. So for the what, well, it's a messaging service that kind of sits between email and instant messenger, because with email, it's very asynchronous. And when you receive an email, you might read it the next day or 2 days after. And with instant messengers, you read it almost at that moment. So Comet is a bit asynchronous too, because when you receive a message, you have, right now, there's no notification, but that's part of a future plan. And you have to manually check the inbox, but I wish to make it more synchronous as we go. So it's a secure messaging platform because the messages are encrypted using the recipient's public key. So nobody, not even Comet right now, can read the contents of the messages, which is, in my opinion, as a user and as a citizen, a classical citizen, is very important because privacy, it's also what cryptocurrencies are and what cryptography is about in the broader term. So the advantage here is that the identifier used is the address and not a phone number or an email. So the advantage is that one can use their Ethereum address to receive the messages, and there's no need to link any personable identifiable information. Also, it's compatible to all EVM chains, because right now I'm using MetaMask to make this work, and I can expand this to other wallet providers. So you don't need to have any Ether in your MetaMask to use that, because it's off-chain and it's really a Web3 service, but as in Web3, and that doesn't use the blockchain directly. It uses the cryptography related to the blockchain. Also, it can be integrated to any platform. So for example, we can create an API that other services will use and be able to send the messages from a bit other websites. So I'll jump to the why. So for me, it's as I said, privacy is important for me and for many other people. And it's a trustless way to communicate to existing Ethereum users and entities while providing a smooth user experience. So yeah, trustlessness is very important in this space. That's what cryptography blockchain is about. So I thought that we needed to have something related to this to be able to communicate to people instead of having to go through Twitter or to other other services or platforms. And it's also, in my opinion, the first brick, if I may say, of the non-monetary Web3, of a bit of the beginning of Web3 social media. And that is quite the direct messaging side. And so further we can have a more public interface and more public platform. It's also, in a way, to make private communications mainstream. That is, for example, if a user has MetaMask, there's no need to register with an email or no need to make your phone number public to use this. And so how is it made? How does it work? Well, as I said, right now it uses MetaMask's API. And upon registration, the public encryption key is retrieved. So that's, in fact, you say, okay, when you register, you say, okay, this is the key that can be used to get in touch with me. And so a sender will take your key, take their messages, and encrypt them on their machine, then send it's encrypted to the server that will afterwards show you the message that you received. And then when you receive an encrypted message, you can decrypt it yourself, and that is also done on your machine. So any content that goes through the server right now is encrypted. And right now there is a database that is kind of, it's a classical server, so it's centralized, but because everything is encrypted and everything is secure, things can be public. So we can store the messages or even the public keys on IPFS, for example, so that anyone can clearly see the contents, and it's clearly proven that the messages are encrypted. And afterwards, we can have a decentralized social media. So that's interesting too. So in the future and possible improvements, well, right now it's about the beginning, and it's really the DMing side of things. So right now you will see in the demo just after that to decrypt a message, you need to decrypt the message individually. So I wish to make this more smooth for the users, and then maybe enable push notifications or email notifications, as I said. Decentralizing the database is also very important because, well, if someone knocks at my door and asks me to take the website down, if it's decentralized, well, I can just turn off my node and the website will still be live. So that's very interesting for me. And for, I mean, to have secure communications too. I also wish to add group chats and also more features that are more of the instant messenger side, to add in-app payments also, because, well, you are using an Ethereum address to send a message, so it's very useful to have payments too. And then kind of create a more elaborate social media platform, such as if we see these messages are as DMs, we can see the public interface more as the Twitter side of things, and people can share publicly their posts and their thoughts. And then, yeah, I want to work with the wallet providers to, make this API more widespread and that everybody can use, and not to be reliant only on MetaMask. As add the ability to use the ANS system to delete messages and to integrate other blockchains. Because right now I'm using the Ethereum blockchain, but things can be used for the Bitcoin blockchain, for example. So as a quick demo that I wanted to share with you, here's the platform as it looks. If you have MetaMask but aren't already connected, Maybe I can zoom in a bit. Okay, so basically if you reload, it will automatically ask you to connect. Okay, I will connect with okay, this demo address. This is basically connecting. Okay, so yeah, this I'm already registered, so let me create a new account. Sorry for that. I create an account. Okay, connects here. Okay, and if I reload, okay, so this is the interface that you arrive upon just with connecting your wallet. You see that there's a bit of explanation here, and you will be able to test this afterwards because the website is live. So if you click register, you have a pop-up that says, Comet would like to know your public encryption key. So if you provide it, then your address is linked with the public encryption key, and anyone wishing to connect with you can. And so this is a message that is asked to be signed because for improved security reasons, this is needed. So when you provide this, okay, this will refresh automatically. You have this interface, which is very simple right now, but for example, I can copy an address. In this case, this is my address. We see that if the user is registered, then the public encryption key has been retrieved and can be used to encrypt the message. So if I say hello from IOSG live, I don't know, I can send a message. Okay, this is sent. The UI is needs to be refreshed a bit, but it's in essence this that works. And then you see that I have a new message here, and I can click the decrypt button to show it. There is a MetaMask pop-up. I click decrypt, and I see my message here. And then I can, send other messages and send again, and the whole thing will refresh right now, but I can decrypt one message and I can decrypt the other message. Okay, so that's a bit how it works. I invite you to test the platform and ask questions about me, about the program and how it works, and more of a technical side if you wish to, because yeah, I implemented it myself, so it's still in the works, but I think that this proof of concept is very interesting. So yeah, that's all for my presentation, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
All right, thank you, Raphaël. It was awesome, and it's a clear enough presentation and demo. We definitely love it. And I would love to hear any of our mentors who have any comments or suggestions regarding the presentation from Raphaël for comment. So any one of you who would love to speak or talk to Raphaël, just feel free to open your camera so we will have a face-to-face communication, and probably we can just talk more about Comet. And I guess, Raphaël, you can just send your demo address to the chat board. Have you do that?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I will do it right now.
Do that so everyone would just have a try on that if you want to do that.
Hi, Raphaël, Yaoqi here. I have a quick question. So, like when the users send the sort of the messages, right?
Yeah.
On the backend side, do you have any protections against DOS attack? Apparently, you don't charge any fees at the moment, right? So basically, if there are some attackers, probably they can just send a large amount of messages to deny service of your server. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something I'm thinking about, and that needs to be mitigated. And as we know, for example, in Discord chats and maybe in Telegram also, you have a lot of spammers and that just want to send messages to people. So right now it's free. I think the whole process of registering is one step, because you have to actually click the MetaMask, and it's not as automatic as you could make it with traditional bots. But maybe as a further protection, and I'm still thinking about the design for this, maybe I will add, for example, a one-time payment that will first be used to continue supporting the service, but also to mitigate the spam. So if you want to create 100 accounts, then you have to pay 100 times the initial payments. So that is something just for the record, that I'm also looking for any advice concerning the potential business model and potential, payments that can be applied, but it's not a requirement that I make this a paying service. So yeah, this is a good question, because it's been in my head since almost the beginning. How can I mitigate spam? And right now the platform is not used, but yeah, so I think including a one-time payment could at least reduce it a bit.
Yeah, I believe like either a very high one-time payment, or you can just learn from the layer 1 protocols, like to charge some fees for each message. Yeah, otherwise I just feel that it's relatively cheap to just send a lot of like probably some dumb messages using your system. Or you can also leverage some subscription system. Meanwhile, you also need to monitor the user's accounts regularly. Like, for example, detect the activities of these users. But in the end, like, for example, if you apply more and more these kind of countermeasures against the users, right, they will feel that your system is not that decentralized. So you need to find a sweet spot somewhere to make it as decentralized as possible. At the same time, can also counter these attacks. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, for example, I could create a smart contract that would track the actual registrations, so that, for example, if I introduced a payment, let's say a one-time payment for this example, I could do it like just checking myself the transactions. But if I make a smart contract, then anyone can check, and if this becomes decentralized as we go, anyone could check who is registered on the smart contract. So yeah, and also, as you said, it's a sweet spot between making this extremely user-friendly and also very secure. And those are two things that are maybe the most important for me on this project. First is security, which is also linked to privacy and so on, but also user experience. And so I often found that when programming all this, you have to trade a bit of the one to get more of the other. So I can make this a very fluid experience, but you will not get as much security as we get right now. So yeah, it's hard to find a sweet spot.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, I think I have two questions. The first one is close to what Yaoqi mentioned, but Yaoqi mentioned is a DDoS to the server. But my question is, like, because you got message from kind of anonymous guys, so I think one way, of course, you can link it to ENS, and when I check the messages, if I saw some ENS I'm familiar with, I just check it. Otherwise, I just ignore this. But like if you are in Discord, I usually ignore all the direct messages. But here, most of the time, all the messages are direct. So do you think people will ignore all the messages that is not linked to any identity, or any way to let people to filter some useful messages from this just public keys, I mean addresses?
Yeah, so that is something that I can implement too. And as I said, I'm still researching this. So You could, for example, say, okay, I just am blocking all messages except for people that I have maybe added as a friend or something. So this isn't live right now, but it's something that we can create to improve the system. And we could also say, for example, something like, I do not accept messages except if the person has an ENS name. And so, but those could be choices for the users. Just like you can say in a Discord server, well, I don't want to receive any private message from a member of this Discord. This reduces the number of spam, and yeah, so we can add some choices and some design decisions in order to mitigate this.
Okay, maybe I don't want to receive messages if the people don't have at least 10 NFTs.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the second question is like, it's more open question about the direction. I think for these kind of places that people send messages, at least I can think of three kinds. First one is email system, second one is Aura, and third one is instant messenger. Yeah. And for what you showed, it's more like an email system. And what do you think, like in the future, you want to do like the email system, or do you think you have other plans, or you think it's still earlier, so you start from this email-like system? In brief, I just would like to ask, what's your opinion towards the evolution of Web3 messenger system?
Okay, so I think that the first indicator would be how the first users are just using the service and what they are using it for. And I want to work closely to the community. So if, for example, the first 1,000 users think that, oh, we need to make it this a bit more email-like than instant messenger, then I will take that into account. But then also I think, but that's a big ambition I have, is try to make this kind of new social media platform. So that would lead to the more instant messenger side. But I actually think that it could be similar to an instant messenger, but that people would use it maybe more at the frequency of emails. So right now, I do not expect people to use this every day. Maybe use this if they only want to send it to a specific address and specific owner of a smart contract. But the big direction I want to take is the social media one. So that will lead to a more DM side of things, and by adding also a public platform and a lot of other stuff that I have plenty of ideas about. So yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. I think that's the end of question because due to the time frame. And thank you, Raphaël, for your wonderful presentation. And thanks, Yaoqi and John, for your questions. We will later have a free discussion time. So any further question, like I saw also some Marek in the chat room have some lots of questions. So guys, just feel free to talk after all the presentation done. And we'll also have other group chat and channels for you to recap or just up to date with all the details and information. So I guess it's the time for the next one. Gökhan, do you want to introduce the next team?
Sure. Yeah. Let's move to the next one. The next project is Hypo. Hypo is a real decentralized bond protocol that applies time periods and fixed interest rate in the DeFi ecosystem. And for the presentation, we're going to invite Hannah from Hypo. You're welcome to share your screen and start the presentation, Anna.
Thank you, Gökhan. Hi, everyone. It's Hannah from Hypo Labs. A second. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep, perfect.
Yes, cool. So thank you. Today, gonna introduce guys with HEPO of Decentralized Bond Protocol. To start with, I'd like to give you guys a brief introduction. HEPO is a decentralized, unbiased collateral-backed bond protocol built on the Ethereum blockchain. We allow users to borrow and lend crypto assets through issuing and trading bonds, which have standardized term of maturity, collateral fixed term. And we apply AMM mechanism. And by the predictable cash flow in future, we make the strategic asset allocation available. And we accept the LP token of Uniswap. So it's kind of like recapitalize those LP token captured by the swap platform. And the total amount to be estimated over $8 billion. So imagine that. The lending platform grow very fast, and it's become a fundamental infrastructure nowadays in DeFi world. But there are still some problems that cannot be neglected. One is that the lenders or investors are passive price takers. That means they need to carry all the interest fluctuations. So if you want to lock in a high APY through market timing, you need to turn to other derivatives protocols such as interest swap. You need to manage your positions, so it would be very inconvenient. It would be extra costs. And the other thing is that the fixed interest rate is always higher than the floating interest, because fixed interest rate equal to the floating rate plus the premium. The premium is used to cover future risk fluctuation. And Eve actually already noticed that problem and updated their parameters last year. However, it looks it not work very well, because the price difference of fixed interest rate to the floating rate could still, the difference should be still as high as 30 to 50%. So notice the above problems, we come up with the idea of a new lending solution. So we combine the order book and automatic market maker mechanism together. So we have the following advantages. One is that our systematic risk is relatively low because we utilize a peer-to-peer protocol. The other thing is we don't really need to configure what is the optimal utilization ratio, because the market gonna go to its own balance. And the other thing is we capitalize the LP token that captured there. And one more thing we would want to mention here is the relatively low liquidation risk, because the price fluctuation come from the collateral of LP, right? And that fluctuation risk come from the impermanent loss. Well, the volatility of impermanent loss is much lower than the price fluctuation of cryptocurrency themselves. So the probability of triggering a liquidation event would be much lower. We also noticed that there are some other zero coupon bond in the market. Well, our pricing mechanism is quite different, but it's a little bit complicated to explain right here. So if you guys are interested, we can talk about it later. And there are some other edges to distinguish HEPO from the rest of others. One is that we utilize AMM market for early redemption bonds. That is means if you want to retire your lending or borrowing before the maturity date, you can trade in the AMM market whenever you want. So the transaction would be completed in a timely manner without too much price discount. Well, the other thing is we can have the rebalancing mechanism here. For example, if you observe the interest of 5 days and 15 days, you will have the implied 10 days interest, right? And if you observe the 10 days interest rate in the market is either higher or lower than what it is implied, then you can do the upside arbitrage. And by doing so, the underlying pools would become rebalanced. And last but not least is that the time value of different periods can be obtained directly. Time value is kind of essential concept in valuation, right? And it's kind of interest compensations to investors for the times they spend apart from money. So it's a matter of money's value over time. So we wish by stripping the market noises and related fluctuations, we could evolve into an interest anchor and play as infrastructure role in DeFi market. So why fixed income? Well, to sum it up, like a comment from AF Group, the need for more predictable interest rate is as old as finance as we know it. People would rather to pay a higher premium in exchange for the high certainty. So people use the fixed income can plan the finance in advance. So they need the predictability in expenses, income, so they can project the future cash flow in and out, and to have this finance certainty. This finance certainty could even change their risk perception and even incentivize their borrowing needs. So with the fixed income provides steady stream of income in future, it is less vulnerable to market volatility and generally considered to be less risky. So we hope the market can recognize HIPPO as an effective complement to today's lending markets and introduce many new participants with relatively low risk preference into the lending ecosystem. And they may find the underlying collateral tokens were valuable and even represent future investment potential. So all in all, we wish to better identify the investor with different risk preference and provide more cost-efficient investment products so that asset management become practical and promote other sectors and DeFi ecosystem to cooperate and prosper together. So after saying what's the general idea of a decentralized bond protocol, I'd like to talk a little bit more about how we do it. So HIPPO is constructed by two pools, the interest pricing pool and the lending pool. Well, we only apply AMM mechanism in the interest pricing pool, so it gets your interest price at any given point of time. And the lending pool decides how much principal you're gonna get. So the two trading pools are coupled through algorithm. As there are four kind of participants, the bond issuers are people who gonna deposit the collateral of LP token and borrow in stable coins or ETH. Well, the bond investors are people who hold stable coins and ETH, trying to get fixed income in future. In other words, they are lenders. Well, liquidity providers can similar to the LP of the other AMM mechanism platform. They provide liquidity to the market to enable there's enough market dips. So make sure the transaction made in timely manner and without too much slippage costs. And the liquidators are people who gonna liquidate part of the collateral if a liquidation event triggered and they got a reward of a price discount, normally 8% to 10%. So here's a little bit more detail on V1. We would like accept LP tokens, including the ETH to USDC pair, the ETH to DAI pair, and ETH to USDT pair. And the maximum loan to value is 80%. Once it exceeded 90%, the liquidation event was triggered. And we support time periods, including 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, and 60 days. Most of which is short term. We may online a longer period later, like 3 months or half year or even 1 year. That depends on how we want gonna work, right? And one more thing I'd like to mention here is that we support the one asset LP. That is to say, if you only hold USDC and you want to be a liquidity provider, that's fine. You just deposit your USDC. The protocol gonna transform part of your USDC into the interest token and match them into pairs and inject the fluidity into the protocol, and you'll get a reward correspondingly. So it's more user-friendly and convenient. So after saying how we do it, I continue with part 3. I'm gonna update you guys with where we are now and the future roadmap. So now we have already completed the white paper, the prototype design, the protocol development, also testnet protocol tests already completed. So we're getting prepped for the contract auditing now. And by next month, we will deploy Hippo on Ethereum testnet for public test. And for next 3 months, we hope we can launch the Hippo V1 online. And hopefully 3 months after that, we're gonna online our DAO governance function along with the data analysis tools. And by June next year, we hope to online our version 2. So considering future strategy, there are 2 directions ahead of us. One is to continue improving the interest infrastructure function, and bond lending is sure one of the basic and core financial services. So in the near future, we'd like to expand the collateral assets to a broader range, and we would online some data analysis tools and provide arbitrage opportunity. We hope the change of interest rate curve could someday like a barometer of the DeFi market and reflects the market participants' attitude toward the market, their perception of risk, their confidence of future. Are they getting more conservative or aggressive, and quantifying pricing the emotions and providing tools to manage those correlated risks. And the other direction is to connect the lending function we have now with other yield-generated protocol and form a yield aggregator. So we may online the access lending protocol and risk trenching protocol to enrich our asset management product lines and release more potential investment opportunity in the lending market. Of course, I'd like to hear you guys' feedback as well as future community feedback, and even maybe given the decision-making power to the community. So here's generally the idea of how the aggregator works. So we're gonna collect some of the existing income-generated protocols, reclassifying them according to different risk resources, repackage them, and matching with people with different risk preference. Right, by doing so, we can like expanding the user base to next level, and we're gonna collect all those liquidity and inject them into the original income generated protocols. So it's kind of a circle here, right? So that's pretty much of it, and here's our contact information. So I'd really want to take this opportunity. Thanks for IOSG holding this party together to share the ideas and thoughts. So if you guys have any questions or for us or ideas, here it is the time. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Hannah, for the great presentation. Let's open it up to the mentors for the questions. Mentors, please unmute yourself if you have any questions you would like to ask to Hannah.
Hello, this is Marek. So one comment first, I think that these kind of fixed rate, sort of, steady income protocols are going to be very, hot in DeFi pretty soon. So this project's very timely. Great to see this. Second of all, do you have a sort of a strategy for multi-chain at the moment, or what blockchain are you focused on? Maybe that's a more appropriate question.
Okay, so right now we actually focus on the Israel chain, and as a matter of fact, we actually plan to online the Algorand blockchain as well. And same time, I know there's a lot of other chains very popular, and the transformation would be relatively low cost. So we are planning to, other blockchain codes that are kind of similar to Israel chain. And thanks, Marek, for your comment on the fixed income. Actually, we are a little bit worried about it because, as you can see, no matter it's if or compound, most of the platform dealing with the floating interest rate. So actually, I'm kind of wondering, do you guys really think there would be real demand for the fixed income stuff?
there, you know, from my end, I'm hearing, you know, a lot of good things about, you know, these sort of protocols. I think that, you know, demand, you know, in DeFi, I think is increasing, you know, for this sort of thing. Yes.
Thank you, Marek. Yeah, thank you. Any questions or ideas?
Hi, Hannah. Yaoqi here. So a quick question. So, like for your platform, right? Who will be the issuers at the beginning? Is yourself, or you are also open to the public to issue their own like sort of bonds?
Well, thanks. I think what we're trying to do, why we were trying to online the public task first, because we want the first issuers would be the real users, you know, but we needed to really doing a hard work on the marketing. But if it doesn't work, we're probably gonna to, you know, be the issuers of ourselves to start it. That's for sure. I don't know if that really answers your questions.
Yeah. And as Marek just mentioned, right, there are one protocol you can also take a look at. It's the TrueFi. Basically, they are offering some these credit sort of lending with fixed interest for big investors, typically the institutional investors. And even they don't call it a fixed interest, but it's quite similar. Apart from the RV and company just mentioned, yeah.
Thanks very much. That definitely would be. We're gonna look into that TrueFi. I think the institution would be the one that our most desirable target customer for sure, because they're huge amount of money locked there. So if we could provide any liquidity or reinvestment opportunity for them, that would be very desirable.
Was this is Marek again? Was 88 MPH mentioned? I think that's a comp that's, I think, gaining a lot of you know, market share and excitement. So I think it could sort of, you know, do that. It could sort of, you know, break into the market for you guys to also.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard the name before, and actually would really look into it. And there's actually, I can give other some names, but we're now quite similar, because like I mentioned before, they call it like in fixed interest, but it's not, because they give you certain amount of interest token, right? And you can have that interest token elsewhere in the market. So in the end, you're not really locked in the fixed interest rate in the stable coins. You are locked in a fixed interest rate in by the means of certain amount of their interest tokens. So basically, it's still floating interest, because you're gonna to, you know, purchase it from the market or some elsewhere, and you still cannot lock in your fixed costs. That's a difference. And also their pricing mechanism, I think, is quite complex. So they can use accrue interest to their AMM mechanism. So the time, as you can say, as time goes by, the accrue interest will decreasing all the time until it come to zero. So they're gonna introduce this so-called time decay factor, and the pricing curve, XY equal to K curve, would be very complex, and they can only hold two maturity pools. One is at the end of this year, and the other is end of next year. So they definitely gonna sacrifice a lot of you know, time period flexibility. So by that means, we can quite different.
Well, just to add, that's super interesting, Hannah. Looking forward to talk with you, because I think we have some synergies on the project that we're building, and an interest to talk with you for further in this.
That's great. I think, yeah, like we have this like common group where you guys can exchange more ideas, I believe. Thanks everyone for the questions and comments. And once again, thanks Hannah for the presentation. For further questions and communication, please use the chat on Zoom or the Telegram group. There you can communicate more. I think we can move to the next one, Esme.
Esme, you are muting.
Esme, you're muted.
So embarrassed, but thanks for telling me. All right, so next one will be Ren. So Ren is building a price-saving mobile app for young adults powered by multi-chain yield aggregator. So I just saw Pol is waiting for a long time. So let's just welcome the founder of Ren, Pol Martin, to do his presentation and show his demo to us.
Awesome, awesome, guys. All right, let's go. So, well, first of all, nice to meet you all. I'm Pol. I'm a young adult from Barcelona, and I think today I want to bring you something and first say that I'm assuming that most of you or some of you have kids, and if not, you're wondering to have it at some point. So I think that's going to be interesting for you. And let me explain you what is RAN and what party tournaments. Basically, the problem that we're facing is that young adults have no financial tools, and it's basically traditional financial tools have evolved, but not for these younger generations, where they do not have any mobile app to just basically produce significant profits with their savings in a very easy way. And basically, when they look at fixed rate savings accounts, which are these ones, they see that the principals of them are so low that they cannot produce any significant profits. So they end up trying to say, all right, I risk my money for a large price or for a large profit, or I just take it to a very easy way and not produce very low APR. So they result obviously being the riskier options, such as, for example, doing gambling, lottery, or buying randomly cryptos that nobody heard of before. So our solution is to bring a mobile app where basically they can just directly win big prizes with almost no risk, where friends can save together, and when all this experience is in a very automated experience in a very easy way. And we also think this is the best way for people to introduce DeFi and to just basically bridge that DeFi with that mainstream user. So how do we know they want this kind of products? We have just in Europe 136 young adults, people between 20 and 35. 65% of their money is used for spending with friends and family. So they are not looking for anything into the long term. So they need financial tools that adapt to these goals. And almost the 56% of these young adults wish to learn more about how to do investments, how to move their money. So in our mobile app, users will be able to create or join collective prize pools to earn common yield with their savings. We bring this option by directly giving access to them in fiat currencies or in crypto. And basically, we produce all these entries with our yield aggregator that basically provides liquidity on several money markets, on several chains, always with a stable coin so we don't expose user funds to any type of volatilities. So we have two main products, which are the private parties and the public ones. So the private ones are the ones that you create between your circle of friends, family, boyfriend, girlfriend, and you basically pull the money together, and all the yield that you produce, it's going to be for a final purpose. So for example, you do a private party with your mates, and in a couple of weeks, all the yield that you produce is going to be for spending for beers. Or you can do it with your girlfriend, and 6 months later, you can use it for paying the flight tickets because you're coming to Barcelona, to Brazil, or whatever. And in the public ones, or the ones that are hosted by RAN, so everybody can join there, are free to join, and have that very strong viral component that with small amounts of money, you're able to win big prizes. And obviously, you can withdraw it at the time of you want. So our entire protocol was also with our token. We use our token for paying the transaction fees of the network. Basically, we also use the token in a safety model way, and we bring in that safety model way a way where our token holders can directly get a proportion of the profits that brand makes, which is exactly why our backers love our. Now I'm thinking that actually this slide should be this one. Yeah, that was the not updated one. So basically, our backers love our tokens in the way because we implement that safety model where basically we're being a last layer of security to the protocol. Apart from it, from the private parties, the profit the brand makes, the 30% that we make in the private parties goes to the token holders, and the 50% of the profit that we make in the public parties goes to our token holders too. So about go-to-market strategy, we basically separate them into 3 phases, into initial phase, development phase, and expansion phase. During the initial phase, focus in Europe, it's about doing the private sale of the token, acquiring the first community members or these people that's going to be with us during all this journey, doing influencers awareness that can bring a lot of traffic to the social media, and doing early adopters program as well as ambassadors program to basically engage the community to help us during the process. And during the development phase, it's about doing the public sale of the token, acquiring the first 50K users in the mobile app. And as our partnership with viral partners can bring more viral loops. So for example, Maze, we're in a public party 1 week, instead of just giving away money, we can directly give away a car. So we can just bring more viral loops in there. And during the expansion phase is about really working on the exponential user growth, where we directly integrate brand with existing neobanks or existing savings accounts, where basically all that mobile apps and that users of that mobile apps can directly use our public or private pools directly without having to download our app. So this is currently a team. I'm glad for all the people joining. There should be 3 people more here that entered last week that I didn't have time to just put them. Just to know, for example, Kiko team is the guys that are helping us on the tech side. They've done a lot of things. They built most of the part of Cello, Ocean Protocol back in the days. So a lot of mature. And about competition, we talk about competition, but we would say, for example, the pool together is in some sort the most one that is similar to us. But we are glad to say that we are actually the only ones that bring an easy tool to use, where friends can save together, where users can deposit fiat or crypto, where we bring that customized experience for them, and that basically have no access barriers, because if you don't know or you never heard about crypto before, you can use it. Because in the mobile app, you can access with fiat and it will be easy to use it. And one super important thing for me is that we focus on the Spanish community, because I don't know if you know, but the Spanish community don't have that many DeFi products built for them that are really focusing on the Spanish language. So our long-term vision goes far away from this and goes on basically building a lot more use cases on top of this yield aggregator, with the same concept of locking the principles and spending that yield that the principles have been produced. For example, some of them that we want to do in-house, which I'm super excited about, could be earnest money, even spooling, or insurance. And yeah, that's a little bit long roadmap with a lot of things, but basically it's about now we're launching the MVP probably in several weeks, and launching the final product by the end of February, as well as the public sale of the token. And then from that, we will want to start the expansion phase, where expansion to different countries, as well as building more features and APIs where external projects can build use cases on top of the yield aggregator. And we already got believers. We already got people that believe in us. We closed a round, pre-seed round of 1 million, say 3 months ago. We are in an open round now of 5 million. And we'll launch also the token launch, as I said, in February, March. And that's it, guys.
All right. Thank you, Paul. It's the end of presentation.
Yeah. So are you kidding me? I was not sharing a screen.
No, you are.
All right.
Help yourself.
Oh, damn. I just thought that I was not sharing a screen, because I had the option on Zoom to share a screen now. And I was like, you're kidding that I did all the pitch and there was no sharing a screen.
If you want to keep your commercial page on the screen, I will allow you to do so.
All right.
To make you happy.
Thanks.
All right.
All right, so questions
let's see. Any questions or comments from our mentors? Anyone? It looks like you're good enough. So I guess people just don't have
I
any.
guess, or I'm good enough, or they are shy. I don't know, guys. Let's go. Shoot some questions. The tough
Maybe you
ones. I
should
like the
ask
tough
them.
ones. No, I like the ones that you say, "Oh man, I'm not gonna know how I'm gonna answer this."
Instead of a punch on the face.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, Paul.
Oh.
Yeah, Yaoqi here again. So,
Oh, how you doing, man?
yeah. Probably you can share more about your multi-chain plan. Yeah, I believe like you also have like sort of something in your mind, right?
Sorry.
I mean the plan to deploy on multi-chains and probably some aggregation strategy like for the project.
Yeah, exactly. So our as Yaoqi said, our focus is building Polkadot maybe in the long term, because we don't have enough liquidity and financial tools or money markets built wire chains built in Polkadot. So we basically now launching a testnet. Then we'll probably start working with on top of Ethereum, directly integrating with Guthrie Finance, probably basically because also we got a lot of good content from people there in Guthrie Finance. Some of them are investors from us. So we directly will integrate in the first instance, just to not overcomplicate in the first instance of things. And then from that, let's start creating bolts in layer 2s and obviously in Polkadot. Does this answer your question, Yaoqi?
Yes, thank you.
All right, cool. I should add on a slide about this, definitely.
Anyone else? Are you guys just waiting for the free Q&A sessions or the free connections after that? Why you guys just don't say anything? I will let you to have opportunity to talk to Hannah, but it's after the Q&A section.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay. Anyone? John? Dan? If you guys are all good about that, so it was a great pitch from Dan, the founder.
I'm trying to read this.
Should give you a round of applause. So I guess that will be the end of your presentation and the brain day time. So I guess we should move to the next part. Gokhan, do you want to introduce Shrub to us?
Yeah, thanks everyone. So the next project we have is Shrub Finance. Shrub Finance is a trading platform for cryptocurrency options. They provide American style and physically settled options. For the presentation, we're going to invite John, the founder of the project. John, you're welcome to start your screen and start the presentation.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen. Screen 2. All right, and can you see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. All right, yes, I'm John Guthrie. I'm one of the founders of Shrub.Finance, and I wanted to start today with a story. So in 2013, Robinhood launched. It was the perfect financial app for the Web 2 world, with fractional shares, no fees, no minimums, and a best-in-class UX. Robinhood introduced millions of retail users to the equity and option markets. Fast forward to late January, at the peak of the GameStop hype cycle, Robinhood shut users down and prevented them from trading their GameStop shares. Gains were stuck, momentum was gone, and the stock crashed. Users had believed that Robinhood was for the people, but this incident pulled the curtain back and revealed that users weren't in full control of their funds. The system was broken. Enter Shrub. Shrub is the Robinhood of the Web3 world, a DeFi crypto options exchange hyper-focused on our users. We've talked to a lot of users, and a common takeaway is that options are hard. Normal DeFi users don't understand the power of options and how they can be used effectively. Rather than teaching options like an academic course and focusing on the technical aspects, we explain with visuals and simple language. Also, we're tailoring our UI to be simple, clear, and friendly. Optimizing for cost is also really important to us. To ensure cheap transaction costs, we're launching initially on Polygon. In addition to cost, Polygon was chosen because of their vibrant community and rich DeFi ecosystem. Shrub options are fully composable with other DeFi platforms via the ERC20 standard. Tokens for options, though, are only minted at user request in order to save gas. I'm now going to run through a quick demo to show where we currently are with the product. So, like what you're seeing right now is a sneak peek of the front page enhancements that we're currently working on based on feedback from our users. We're going to start by showcasing the front page, and we start by asking users a simple choice. Are they familiar with options, or are they not sure yet what to buy? If they click on Start Trading and they're familiar with options, it will take them straight to a traditional order book view. In the second, though, we provide intelligent suggestions based on the contents of the user wallet. So if we scroll down, based on the wallet that's connected, this user has a $100,000 liquidity position in Uniswap V3 with the ETH USDC pair from the 3,000 to 4,000 range. The app detects this and is suggesting a possible insurance put that he could buy along with an illustrative chart showing possible outcomes for the position. So on the x-axis, you can see the dollars per ETH for what the price of ETH could be in the future. And on the y-axis, you see the USD value. Unhedged, you can see in this gray line that below the $3,000 limit at the edge of their liquidity position, there's a lot of downside. But if they purchase insurance, it caps their downside at about 14% loss. So if a user is interested in purchasing this insurance, they can click the big button, and a pop-up they'll get. You can see in all the different forms that we have on Shrub, we like to make sure things are really well explained. So we have an explainer here about exactly what you're getting. We have lots and lots of tooltips. So you can basically hover over whatever and the platform will explain it to you. And in this case, the amount is right-sized for the liquidity position that they're trying to hedge. So I'm going to move on and take a look at the Shrubfolio. This is used to indicate the funds that the user has in the Shrub contract. Notice the clean UI and the large numerals with clear options to deposit or withdraw. Also, our app supports both light mode and dark mode to accommodate user preference. I'm going to deposit some SUSD, which is just Shrub's version of USD for our test beta. So we can deposit. I'll choose SUSD. There's a send max functionality, and I have 4,500 SUSD in my wallet. I'll go ahead and make this deposit by signing the transaction. Notice that we have a nice little toast that shows the transaction confirmed. We do full transaction monitoring on the platform. And when I close this, if I click on my wallet, I can see in my history all the different recent transactions that I've done, along with the status of those different transactions. Also notice that we now have 5,000 USDC in the user. So now let's navigate to the options screen and take a look at that. So this is the option screen. You can see the different expiries that we have for the options. October, November, December. You can buy or sell the options, and there's calls and puts. So let's go ahead and click on buy for a call. You have an order book over here on the right. When you're making an order, you can do a market order or a limit order. If you're doing a limit order, you specify the price per contract. With a market order, you're just using whatever's in the order book. We also support fractional options at Shrub. So for example, we could purchase 0.1 options of this call. Also, you might notice that some of the prices don't really make sense for Matic. A lot of our test data was there for ETH, so that's why that's why you're seeing thousands of dollars for Matic. But it is the same idea. So we're going to purchase this option, go ahead and sign and confirm this transaction. And we've bought 0.1 of this call. Now, if we go back to the Shrub portfolio, we can see that the SUSD balance has been decremented by the $18 or so that it costs to purchase that option. And down below, we can see the option that we purchased. So we have the ability to exercise at any time because these are American style options. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that. So we'll exercise this option, go ahead and send the blockchain transaction. And you can see that $4,000 or $400, since it was 1/10 of an option, were decremented from the USD balance, and 0.1 Matic was added to the Matic balance. And that concludes the short demo of what we've got for the platform. So taking a look at the market that there is for options, it's enormous. There couldn't be a better time than now to be building a DeFi options platform. Here's some of the other notable projects in the space. On the CeFi side, there's Deribit. On the DeFi side, there's Open, Hedgex, and Opium. And on Polygon, there's Odds, Siren, and Pods. The majority of projects in the space are using an AMM to sell options based on a formula. While we think this is a clever way to deal with bootstrapping liquidity, we do see some major pitfalls with it. AMMs must sell at a premium to the fair Black-Scholes price in order to provide yield for the pool. So buyers are generally getting a bad deal buying from them. But in the case a known volatility event is upcoming, buyers can take advantage of a dumb pool selling for too low of an implied volatility. So to allow full flexibility to traders and avoid these pitfalls, we believe the ultimate DeFi options platform has to be order book based. So in terms of differentiators, we covered a lot of these already in the demo. Of note though, to connect with users and build our community, we're leveraging our mascot Bud. We're going to reward value providers with NFTs, starting with a founder Bud for testnet early adopters. These NFTs will interact later with the app. Let's compare the process to sell calls on 3 different platforms. So first of all, there's Deribit. It requires KYC, and you have to deposit funds on Deribit via the traditional financial system. So that could end up taking days. Open's on the blockchain, so it's a lot better since you don't have to deal with that. But you still have to mint O token options in order to sell them, and 4 transactions are ultimately required, which creates some friction. With Shrub, you can deposit collateral at time of execution, so you end up with only 1 blockchain transaction. One of the most pressing challenges for the Shrub platform will be bootstrapping liquidity so that traders have reasonable bid-ask spreads. We're attacking this issue with a multifaceted approach. We're going to launch the platform with a limited set of contracts so as not to fragment liquidity. We're incentivizing value-providing activities such as referrals and market making. We're engaging with market makers to understand their needs and create relationships with them. We're building an arbitrage bot that'll be open source and can be used to arb Shrub options against CeFi options. And we have smart pools on our roadmap, which are structured product pools, which will be built on top of Shrub. So this is our timeline. Right now, we're in the middle of our Mumbai launch and community building campaign. Going forward, we're planning on launching a DeFi options aggregator in November. We're doing this to consolidate the currently fragmented options liquidity. We're planning on providing a one-stop shop for users to find the best prices on options. And finally, we're planning on launching to Polygon at the end of the year. So in our so far 4-month journey, we've established some valuable partnerships with Polygon, NEAR, and Open Web Collective. We've proposed, also in the spirit of partnerships, we proposed the idea of platforms using Shrub as a mechanism for rewarding users with options for their tokens. We've had an enthusiastic response from users and interviews, and we're also getting interest from some other platforms. So more than anything, what ultimately determines the success of a company is the team. The Shrub core team has 13 years of blockchain development experience between our 3 members. We've seen bull and bear cycles, worked at scale, talked to countless users, and learned what it means to build an effective teams from scratch and deliver excellence. At BitPay, we had a reputation for execution. We worked on their most critical projects, including adding additional currencies to the platform, debit card, wallet infrastructure, and operational tooling. In addition to being engineers, Rachid and I both have a business background with MBAs from Indiana University. Rachid cares more about user experience than anyone else I've ever met, has a high level of empathy, and is willing to fight for doing things the best possible way. She led the UI UX team at BitPay. Micah was the lead Solidity developer at BitPay, wrote the payments contract, which has processed hundreds of millions of dollars, built the Coinbase Connect payment integration, which was BitPay's first off-chain invoice option. He's a serial creator and an idea generator. There's no other people that I'd rather be building this platform with. So in summary, there's tremendous opportunity for DeFi crypto options. We're building the Robinhood of the Web3 world, delivering frictionless onboarding, an intuitive interface, and an incentive structure that rewards all value providers. Shrub's the right idea at the right time with the right team. And now if you have any questions.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, John, for the presentation. I really like the UI of the application. Let's ask the mentors. If you have any questions, please shoot them now. Please unmute yourself and we can start the Q&A session for sure.
I've already saw lots of questions on the chat board, but why just no, guys?
So on the, hey guys, this is Calvin from Impossible here. On the interface right now on the screen, there's this SUSD piece. Is the idea that you're also going to price these things using some sort of synthetic stablecoin that you guys are creating, or is this just like for demo purposes, something where everything's priced here? I think what I didn't quite understand was, I do like this kind of the liquidity integration part, because I think a lot of options platforms struggle with this kind of liquidity and pricing as a result. You know, a lot of funds want to maybe have exposure to, you know, millions of ETH in notional, you know, volume, but, you know, most platforms have like, I don't know, tens of ETH, if that. And so the question I have here is like, are you kind of building more specifically on kind of trying to combine all of these things as deposits into your ecosystem? Or is it going to be something where you're kind of using some sort of synthetic liquidity to mirror what all the other prices or liquidity is out there?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Calvin. So no, yeah, I can see how the SUSD could be confusing. That's just what we're using. Right now, we're launching on Mumbai on Polygon. And in order to really play with the platform well, you really need to have more than, say, the 0.01 Matic that you can get from their test faucet. So what we're doing is a convenience for you. What we're doing is a convenience for users is we've minted 2 tokens on Mumbai. One is like S-Matic and one is SUSD. And basically you can trade one test Matic for 10,000 of either of those, so that users who are playing around with the platform have plenty of funds. Yeah, so in regards to your question, we're not doing anything with the synthetic tokens.
Gotcha. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah. This is Thanh from Coin98. Thanks you for a great pitch. My question is, at the beginning, you are going to launch a aggregator for options, and then you want to focus on Polygon. But as far as I know, most of the options protocols who are building on Polygon is not ready yet, and most of the liquidity right now is on Ethereum mainnet. So just curious, how can you aggregate all those liquidity on Ethereum mainnet when you are launching on Polygon? Thank you.
Right. So yeah, thank you for the question. The concept with the aggregator that we want to build is to really show users of our app the entire picture of the DeFi options ecosystem. So even though our platform is going to be on Polygon, we're planning on including options platforms also from ETH or also from like Binance Smart Chain, so they can really see all the different options platforms in one place. And rather than doing that through, say, RPC calls, we're planning on using something like a subgraph with the graph in order to get at the data for the different options platforms.
Got it. Thank you.
Hi, John. Yaoqi here. So, like, can you share more about your target users? Because as far as I know, right, from the demo, basically it's a quite open platform. Basically, everyone can basically trade the options. And meanwhile, probably in the future, you can also open the opportunity for the user to create their own options. But as a sort of open market, since you open a lot of different opportunity for the users, but then sometimes like too many choices may confuse the users, right? And for me, I think the openness of the platform is quite good, but for the ordinary users, probably you just make it too many choices for them compared to the AMM model. Like at the beginning, like what's your plan to onboard? Like either you want to focus on the the institutional investors or probably just the retail investors. I just want to know your thoughts on that.
No, thank you for the question. Some really good observations. So our main focus is going to be the retail investors. And we've interviewed a lot of people and talked to a lot of people who might be hesitant to trade options, but once you explain some of the different things that they could achieve by trading options, they get really excited about the idea. Some people don't know about, for instance, selling puts in order to get in at some asset at a cheaper price, or selling calls, like selling covered calls of something they have as a way of generating additional income off of the assets that they have. And those sort of strategies, once people have them explained to them, they get really interested in them. So retail is definitely our main focus, but we do appreciate the need for providing a good amount of liquidity for those investors. And building that liquidity is indeed like one of the big things that we're thinking about and are going to have to solve within our platform. So like you mentioned, the contract itself is very open. To start, we're going to be restricting on the UI what sort of choices users are going to see in terms of the options. So there's only going to be a small handful of different options contracts that you can buy at launch. And we're going to wait until there's a significant amount of liquidity before we expand that out to make sure that there can be a healthy amount in each of those different options. In addition to that, like I mentioned in one of the slides, we are planning on engaging with market makers and trying to get bigger players like that involved in the platform to ensure that the spread, the bid-ask spread, is reasonable and people can get actually a good price on whatever options they want to buy.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Great. Then I think that's all. Thanks a lot, John, for the presentation and for the insights. And thanks, mentors, a lot for the questions and comments. Just a reminder again, after the presentations, we will have another hour for sharing these comments and questions about the projects, that we can have a more like a detailed talk about the projects themselves. With that, we can move to the next one. Esme, would you like to introduce the project?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to thank John again because it's midnight at his time, and it was like so nice for him to finish his presentation. And don't hit the bed yet because you haven't end screen sharing. Please do that for me. Thank you. All right. 1 second. Okay, so next we're gonna have treasury research, but before that I was just gonna have a little tips to all of you guys, because after presentation it's not just a simple Q&A time. It's like the brain date. So any one of you have any thoughts, ideas to share, or we can have the project founders who has any question to our mentors, or mentors has anything that they would like to tell or share with our projects, just feel free to do so. It's just not limited to any questions regarding specific details on the presentation. So I will just introduce Treasury Research. They're a data-driven research group focused on DAOs, treasury, ops, and decentralized government. And Wenqing is also our old friend. Hello.
That's me. Hello, everyone.
And because they also participated in our Layer 2 hackathon in August, just like a couple months ago. And we are so happy to see their development and their recent growth on their project. So feel free to share your screen and start your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Esme. Thank you for the returning. Yeah, so from last time, I think it's about 2-3 months ago, right? So maybe it's a good time for us to give some updates about our project. It's already been very different from the last time you guys see us. So let me share the screen here.
Good to know that. And congratulations for a bunch of things. Just started.
Thank you, but we are in a very middle way right now. And you will see in the presentation, there are a lot of the discussions, questions, doubts in our internal team. And we also have some long-term partners having conversations to discuss about our business models. And today, I think I like this word called brain date, right? This is a very sexy word.
From me.
It's very good. It's very good. And also we prepare some questions to asking for audience. Maybe they can give us more idea about it. So yeah, let me just start introduce about what we're doing right now. Okay, so after two months from the last hackathon, we started to giving us sort of the temporary vision and mission. So now we're calling us a research team, and we are the key competency is data driven, and our group right now is focusing on researching about the DeFi's and DAOs treasuries, about their operation and the governance activities, because we think this is very valuable. So here are some thoughts that we learned from takeaway. We learned in the last 3 months. So first, at the very beginning, we thought like DAO is very simple things, right? As long as you have a multi-signature wallet and you have a group of people, you can make a DAO. But now, since we started to deeply research about many DAOs, like different kinds of DAOs, about less than 20, I think, we started to realize that there are some more power behind the very surface DAOs format. The first thing we can see is the capital mobility. This is a very important concept in the currency, in the cryptocurrency, because in the traditional enterprise organization or a venture, the usage of your money and your LPs, your LPs ideology and the stereotype is more or less influencing where your money go. And another thing we think is very important is called anti-fragile. This is a book's name, and I think it's very interesting because now we are in the world of very disorder, in a way of disorder. So we are trying to survive and trying to grow in this disorder environment. So it's very important to have the anti-fragile, and the DAO is possessing that. And also there's a new way of coordination we can see in many very outstanding DAOs. Some of them are like having the members cross the time zone, cross culture, and obviously you can see DAO is a less authoritative way for organizing, but more connectivity way to fulfill the cross-region coordination. So it's self-motivated. It's more self-motivated from the bottom to top, rather than the top to bottom. So DAO is a very phenomenal things, and for crypto, let's see the next stage of our fields. And this is our two reasons why we started to research about the DAOs and treasuries. Because at the beginning we were a research team focused on treasury study. You can learn from you can learn from our name. But when we studied more about the treasuries, we found treasury is important because it's a container of financial value. But behind it, it's something more valuable is how we operate those monies, how we deploy those governance operations, how we coordinating people's behind those monies. So this is more important. And you can see from Bitcoin, smart contract, DeFi, and DAOs, we're trying to fighting against the organizational fragility and the inevitable business segmentation. And also from by researching about the treasuries and DAOs, we can find many very useful alpha. Maybe this could be interested by many investors and ventures. Those are just numbers, but numbers tell something. As you guys can see, the trend is phenomenal. And in the last 2 years, especially in the recent 1 year, DAO's activities is fast increasing, and the money behind it is mobilized by the DAO, and treasuries are also fast increasing. So this is a very, very, very useful signal to telling us this is the moment we should have focused on. We should take a look at DAO, what is going on DAO. And so we're giving our temporary goals for the next half year. So in the next half year, which is unleashing the power of decentralized governance. Because as long as we know this is important, so how can we do something to become part of it? So first thing we can see is many DAOs and organizations needed to have their third-party independent advocates for the integrity and the transparency, and of course the educational stuff. Those are something we can do because as we are a research team, and also we are very proactively seeking the alpha of those treasuries and those signals behind it. And third is we're trying to facilitating those DAOs treasuries to make them a better operation of a decentralized governance and become a more robustness organization. Yeah, just quick updates about what we did in the last 3 months. First, we're tracking about 120 treasury addresses on different I already forget a number, but more than 6 blockchains right now. More than 6 blockchains right now, and now we're using doing analytics to generating queries to analyze those treasuries' behavior, how them mobilize their money, and also we use subgraphs to make those data transparent so that every research team can freely access from the graph network. Oh, by the way, we are in the next week we're going to be announced our first the graph tech grant that we rewarded recently. And so what we're doing right now, I have to be honest, we still do not have very clear business model right now, as we are more or less like a research team focusing on exploring. But we're trying to pivoting our product to trying to find a market to fit it. Now we're providing 4 type of resources, four type of services to different clients. First type is doing the integrity and transparency investigation. And the second part is we are proactively become the DAO's member, or at least to become the consulting members, helping them growing. And the third is we become, we're trying to giving the help for our venture partners or venture DAOs to helping them build their new investment strategies and do the due diligence, incubation, consultation, and etc. And last but not least, we are trying to build the tools and infrastructure level stuff to helping them become more efficient, running more efficiently. Oh, by the way, this is another ongoing product right now we're building called the Treasury Alert. So basically, we're tracking those top treasuries and DAOs behavior on-chain or off-chain. On-chain means the wallet, the address, the contract, the contract, and the liquidity pool behavior. And off-chain is their in future is going to be the forums discussion, and now it's snapshots activity. And we were tracking in the real-time base, so that as long as you subscribe our Twitter and EPNS and the email, you can receive the any treasuries that you are interested in. And also we're exploring our business model. At least you have to survive, right? But now we're focusing on 2 things. First thing is like we helping we do the case-by-case service to ventures and some DAOs to do the independent due diligence check. And also, as I mentioned, the Treasury Impulse subscription is one we customized for the specific venture partner. And also we will do the intelligence tools customization to meet some ecosystems needs as long as they want. And now our partner strategy is very simple. As long as you become our investor, a seed round investor, and we can do the token swap. We can do the equity token swap, and we become the mutual partner, and we growing together. We proactively join your DAO's organization, DAO's governance, and we will do the any effort that we can do for your growing. And also in future, we probably trying to launch the partner limited opportunity fund to targeting on the specific case. All right, this is all. I reserved more time for the question and the discussion. So ask me question, and then I'll have other questions for you guys.
Hi, yes, this is Marek Laskowski. So first of all, wonderful presentation. This is very good stuff. This is also, an open DeFi topics that we're very interested in. Certainly evidence-based decision-making is a big part of, what we do and what we're about. What I would say is, I actually unfortunately had to miss the very start of your presentation because I had another call come in, but are you yourselves a DAO?
No, we are not DAO yet. We haven't decided who will go to DAO.
So I'm glad you said yet, right? Because at my time at Block Science, right, that was a very, very good time to be there in terms of being involved in DAOs, because we pioneered some of the thinking there, around DAO to DAO collaborations. And so I think that given your model of token swaps and perhaps doing things with grants and so forth. I mean, I could see definitely a model where this service, let's call it, right, it sort of operates as a DAO. So I'm very, very excited to hear about what the work you're doing. So yeah, so that's actually was my thought around whether you're a DAO or not. If not, maybe that's in your future, and I would love to follow up on Telegram or Twitter. Thank you.
All right, that's great. What is your name? I think that there will be.
Yeah, I'm regular. I'll write it in the chat. I'm regular Marek on Twitter.
Oh, great. Yeah.
It used to be Professor Marek. I'm regular Marek.
So. We can have the private chat about that too. Any other questions?
Yeah, and I think so. This is Thanh from Coin98. I think I have the same thought as Marek. So in the presentation you talked about you guys are looking for a specific business model for treasury research, but so far from my personal feeling, I do think that you guys should operate it as a DAO as well, like an investment DAO where you at the beginning you can start with just offering research, and in exchange for all those your research you can do a token swap between DAOs, because from what I've seen right now, there's a lot of investment DAOs going they're just launching, so you can offering those kind of service to them. And I think like a bigger market that you can really target into is that some kind of services that you can offer to the projects who already launched the tokens and they have the treasury funds. I do prefer that you should talk to them and then what kind of services or what kind of informations, what kind of problems that they want to manage the DAO for them, but no guys in the market that will resolve that problems for them, and then you come up with a solutions for them. I think in this case, and they probably it is quite easy for them to do a token swap between the project tokens and then your DAO tokens in exchange for your research service. So in this case, that would be the first scenario that you can think more about a business model for your projects. The second one is I do recommend is maybe you can operate it as an investment DAO as well, where you can give some alpha from doing your research, and then by following this I think a lot of people are gonna interested in joining a DAO.
Okay, sounds great. Can I clarify two things? I haven't got it clear. So in the last in the second part, you said you suggested we are upgrading to an investment DAO, right? Directly, is that?
Yep.
When do you want? Okay, good. So how so? What do you think? I mean, I'm just trying to clarify the availability. Do you think this is the right time for us to become a venture DAO?
Can I chime in here as well? I actually had this similar comment to Thanh here. I actually think that because you're working with many of these other teams or want to have these like DAO to DAO kind of collaborations, in a way you act a little bit like a SPAC or like a basket of projects, right? Because you will, if you do the token swap piece, right? That's something where you will very quickly acquire a very diversified portfolio yourself. And that's where it mimics a lot of what a fund is, but maybe in unique ways. So most recently, there was a deal for, I think, a de-hedge treasury diversification in which we ultimately did not participate, but we really liked the de-hedge team. We just didn't really have a good way to potentially kind of participate in this round, but we had many other friends and teams be a part of their sale. And so for a lot of project teams, I think speaking from Impossible Finance side, we definitely would be, interested in doing this. But then at the same time, the tokens that if we were a project who were enter into this type of swap is actually something that not every team would be able to have access to. And so when you have this type of kind of basket of assets, you're creating a very interesting access into builders. And obviously funds and other folks are interested in having that same type of proxy access, right? So that's, I think, kind of where I see what Thanh said makes lots of sense to me as well.
Sounds great.
Yeah, totally agree with Calvin.
I also like the concept called proxy. Can you see it again? Proxy
exposure. I don't even know what I said. I think this works.
Exposure. Okay. Yeah. Sounds like that, right? Proxy exposure. All right. Sounds great. Sounds great. Those are some very, very useful information for us because this is a part we are still in long discussion right now. And I just want to be very honest and try to get more feedback. All right. Is there any questions?
I have a bit of feedback. It's Marek again. I don't hear anyone else speaking. Just one thought about your presentation. Again, I like that it's very good, but what it could use, I think, again, I might have missed it when I was on that call, but like if you have a specific story about how data and analysis helped in a decision, right? So like this, like if you, even if it's a story, right? But like, I mean, I would look at some maybe present some data and talk about how, a DAO or a, venture studio or something, a fund could make a decision based on that. I think for some of the folks that maybe aren't sold on evidence-based decision making yet, I think that would be very powerful. Otherwise, I mean, I got it already, right? So like, that's why I'm just thinking from someone who's different than myself.
I got. This is a good feedback. I think we should consolidate some real use case that we used in recently. Well, I think one of the very first use case we successfully used our data was the YGG, but it's more like we haven't got the entire trend, but we got the second part of the last half of the trend. And since we started research about YGG in August or in July, and we realized that the A16Z was directly invested in YGG in the May, and that was clearly showed in the data. And as long as we take a very close look, I mean, we can got that time immediately. So yeah, maybe we can make some like very substantial use case like that, so that the audience can understand what we're doing, right? Sounds great. All right, I think you guys covered many of my questions. Actually, I thought I want to asking about so is there anything attractive you guys about DAOs or treasuries, or if in any case you guys are researching about that, why you guys are motivated on that? Because we are motivated because we saw the value, but I'm not sure how many of you are finding the value, maybe from a different perspective.
Yeah, I'm kind of wearing a hat, Marek again, third time. I'm kind of wearing a hat of being a bit of like a DAO maximalist these days, in thinking that, not to say that DAOs don't have their own set of challenges and unique challenges, but I think they're also, more and more projects, especially like crypto native projects, DeFi native projects, are going to be DAOs. So like really you're just talking about the, everything, they're calling it, maybe DAO spring or DAO summer next year, right? Where everything's going to sort of DAOify. So that's why I'm very bullish on what you're doing.
Okay, and why you think crypto or DeFi is going, like DeFi project is preferred to become a DAO rather than traditional organization?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that goal of like you mentioned, decentralization. I think that's always a goal, but I think a lot of it is actually regulatory pressure, right?
Okay, regular. Yes, I mean, in many use cases in Asia style, we saw this is a very typical reason they become a DAO. So I think this is a very practical reason. Okay. And I'm not sure how many of you are working for a DAO, with the DAO, or somehow connected with them. Is there any value or anything, any tool or service that you guys think is valuable, but nobody or not very many people are doing in the current market that we can try to tap into? Just an open question.
All right, if anything doesn't come up yet, just after you have any ideas on the questions from Wenqing, like the tools or anything that haven't been discovered by most of people, or just like suddenly saw that, you can just type it in the chat room, or also type it on the group chat after that. Just share with everyone. Go on.
Yes. Yeah, just type to me, or if you guys are interested for the connection, you guys can email me. Yeah, we can, you can give us the very valuable feedback. I just send my name here. Send my email here. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I think I will talk over the time.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Wenqing. It was a great one. And thanks a lot, mentors, for questions and comments. The next one is MetaHood. So MetaHood is a sleek marketplace for metaverse lands. You can think of it as an aggregator for all the lands in the metaverses. And for that, we're going to invite Gwendall Esnault, the founder of the project. Gwendall, you're welcome to share your screen and start the presentation.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Gökhan, for the intro. Yeah, pleasure to be here. So let me show you my screen. Hold on. There you go. All right, do you see it? Okay. So basically, so yeah, just can you see my screen fine?
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, basically the idea of MetaHood is, so the metaverse is really the next frontier of how we consume information and how we interact with digital, right? We just started, with like simple screens and pixels, and the more we go, the more we get immersed in this, in digital, thanks to different devices and everything. So I won't go too deep into that, because I'm sure you must all be familiar with, with metaverse, and all the AR and VR devices are, getting in our lives and are getting more popular. But the basic thesis of MetaHood is like the metaverse is going to grow as its own, new platform, like we have social media today and the internet today is. We will have this new environment which is much more immersive, and like where people will just like gather and spend time and basically interact and have economic activities and all what we can do in real life right now will be moving to the metaverse. So yeah, that's the basic thesis. It's like the metaverse is shaping as a new world, but right now we have platforms building metaverses, but we don't have any tools around metaverses. A lot of things remain to be built so that interaction in between all these different people can be facilitated and organized. So basically that's the idea of MetaHood. So the first problem we are addressing with MetaHood is the marketplace aspect. Like in these metaverses, actually in the decentralized ones, people can acquire lands. So you don't, only, browse the world and interact with it. We actually own lands and have a stake in the land. And, you actually, you have to, you have some different incentive and behavior in there. So right now, most of the land sales happen on OpenSea, like all NFTs are sold and exchanged there. but the problem with OpenSea is it's a generalist marketplace. It aggregates a whole bunch of different type of NFTs who have nothing to do with one another. The problem it creates is that discovery and like the usability and the search for this specific type of NFTs is really suboptimal on OpenSea. When you search for a land on OpenSea, when you see, as you see on the screen here, you have just land. You can basically indicate the type of property you want. I mean, the type of asset, the NFT you want. So in this case, it's a land, and then you have to type the X and Y coordinates, and you just have to search through it. But you have no information on what's happening in this specific location, why you would have to search in a specific location. All this information, like, it's not available. You cannot see it, so it's really hard. And what happens today is everybody is searching on Discord basically, and people who have a deep knowledge of specific metaverses have an edge over other investors. So there is a lot of asymmetry of information and optimality in this market. So basically, the idea of MetaHood is first version is to build a sleek marketplace, as you said, Gökhan, thanks, for the metaverse. It's really basically providing a platform and tools to empower and allow investors, landowners, and just people who want to get a stake in the metaverse to more easily access it, whether it is from information or just discoverability. So really the first focus will be on building like the equivalent of a Zillow for the metaverse, in a sense that you will have a map. I will show you a demo after, so I won't go too in deep in there. So you can have just basically a map and browse visually your lands. And there will be some more, like cool features, like an alert system, or you may be interested in acquiring lands in a specific area, or maybe close to a certain brand, and you may want to get an alert when one of these listings get on the market. Also, the idea is to provide, to facilitate basically the market, so to allow buyers and sellers to talk, like it can happen on Airbnb, for instance, and also like market data, like as I told you, getting to know what are the trendy areas, what are the, where the prices are rising, what are the hotspots you have to be in, it's basically like in real life real estate, right? You have to get information to make a decision. And then in the future, like really this marketplace is really the first aspect of MetaHood, but really the most broad and long-term vision of the platform is to provide really the infrastructure and the backbone for this new economy, or economies in plural, because there will be different metaverses. So in the really near future, it will be providing basically ways for landowners to get yield on their assets. So basically like staking solutions, providing also a rental market. And this one is super important because the market I'm convinced the market will evolve in this direction, in a way that today you have landowners basically who just like hold their lands and just like speculate and expect it for the price to go up. But it's purely lands are not an asset generating income. So for landowners, what will happen is probably landowners will, some people with large portfolios or who get to know a specific metaverse before others will accumulate lands and will probably lend them to creators and brands and game designers and a whole bunch of people who will create experiences and activities basically on the metaverse. So along with the rental market, so there is a set of tools to allow collaboration with all these people. If I briefly mentioned the DM system, but it's more around also just like connecting people who want to work together, and we need to talk to each other and create together. And finally, the project will probably evolve as a DAO, as a DAO. For now, it's not the case, but it will probably, I think it's really what the mission of the project being to help shape what the metaverse will look like. The right approach to that is probably through DAO. I mean, to onboard everybody and to allow everyone to participate in this kind of decisions and where the product will head. and probably also to have an impact on the metaverse themselves, you know, to get land and to create stuff there. So in terms of team, I started the project a couple of months ago. It was actually from a personal need that originally. I actually started buying sandbox lands and yeah, discover like the fantastic world of browsing lands on OpenSea. So that's really, it really started as a personal pain point to solve, and then it evolved. And so right now I'm in the process of building a team. I have a few people I'm starting talking with and going through the fundraising. So yeah, team is getting there. And that's it. Do you have any questions?
Thanks, Gwendall. Thanks a lot for the presentation. So mentors, do you have any questions?
Feel free, we can chat afterwards. You have I will leave you my details. My details are here. Probably, yeah, I'm going to write it down in the chat so that you get it. But yeah, in the meantime, feel free if you have any question. Oh, well done. One second.
I think Marek has one question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. I had a listener AirPod problem.
Okay.
So yeah.
So Marek is asking, do we plan on expanding to other protocols other than Send?
Yeah. Oh, I actually, you know what? I didn't show you the demo. I'm just thinking. Let me show you quickly what the product looks like. So yeah, it's so the idea is to aggregate different metaverses. So hold on. All right. Yeah. Okay. So can you see it? Yeah. All right. I guess you can. So yeah, for now it's really so the different marketplaces are aggregated. It's not only you know, the sandbox. For now, it's like the 4 biggest ones. It's basically Sandbox, Decentralized, CryptoVoxel, and Somnium Space. And the idea is really to keep on, you know, adding new platforms that as they emerge, you know, like big, you know, metaverses as they get, you know, it's basically to aggregate everything, but you know, focusing first on the most significant ones. So it will depend really on a case-to-case basis, like the ones with the most volume and the biggest community, and basically the coolest stuff to get built there will be integrated first. And so in terms of map, what it looks like for now, it's really just you know, you can really see it's basically like Airbnb or Zillow, all the, you know, real estate platforms we are all used to. So yeah, the idea is you can just browse visually, like see the listings, the red dots. You have a legend, the red dots are the lands for sale here. And for each land, you can just, you know, basically get some information on who the seller is, the price. Oh, this one is expensive. The different lands it includes, because people can sell lands in bundle. It happens a lot actually, especially on OpenSea, for example, where you have assets, you have estates. You can put basically a picture on a group of lands, and you know, all brands do it now. And yeah, you can get basically information on specific lands, like, you know, history, different historical sales for these lands. And yeah, you can basically also filter by price, you know, and you know, I mean, you have different filters, and I think that's a super important point for land search, because, for example, you may want to only see lands for up to 2 ETH, you know, and you can do it easily with MetaHood and see it on the map, and you know, do your shopping this way. You can here browse by number of lands, you know, as I told you. You can buy in bundles, so you can do that. Location and more actually filters are added, you know, depending on metaverses. Different metaverses have different filters, you know, they can have different the ways the metadata is structured, and you know, different points you may want to search on. So yeah, it will be also adapted to every single metaverse. And also you can list basically, I mean, it's like nothing new. It's like the same, you have an OpenSea and other marketplaces, but you may want to check prices for, cheaper first, not to spend 100 ETH to buy land. So, you can pretty easily, quickly see it there. So yeah, that's it.
I have a question here. So it's a quite nice demo. So regarding the business model, how do you charge the users? If you, for example, if whether you charge users on some fixed fees if they buy the unit from your website, or is there any other model?
Yeah, so exactly. At first, what's happening is, so we are bootstrapping the marketplace on OpenSea right now. So basically, when you see a listing right now, you can just, when you click for use, maybe, yeah, I don't know if you see, but you get to OpenSea, and it's basically OpenSea listing. So only stuff here that we take is referral fees. It's not that much. But next, so what's coming really soon is our own basically marketplace and smart contract. So you will be able to list directly from MetaHood, and people will be able to buy directly from MetaHood, and there will be a fee, like marketplace fee, standard procedure.
That's cool. It's like the real asset agency, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For now, it's more connecting people to a platform, but yeah, it's basically an agency. Yeah, I mean, without any human input for now. But it's actually something where we may do some more stuff, like maybe promotion. I mean, it's super interesting. If you make the parallel between metaverse real estate and real life real estate, and you think the first one will catch up with the second one in terms of how it's structured and how it works and the services you have around, there is so much to build around. It's super exciting.
Yeah, thanks. It looks some of the virtual ones are more expensive than the physical ones.
Yeah. It's that some of them are getting really expensive, like especially in some areas, like in Decentralized. When you get to the center, main plaza, prices are quite high. You don't have much lands below 2 ETH around. It's getting expensive, and I assume, like, as metaverses will go mainstream, and as the AR VR devices will get more widespread to the public, and metaverses will provide a really immersive experience, and as more people will get into crypto, metaverse will just like keep on exploding. And for many people who want to acquire lands, the important thing is many people are outpriced from real life real estate, but can still get a piece of land on the metaverse, and it speaks to to quite a few people actually. I've been talking to, this sense of ownership you can get in a world, even if it's a digital one.
Yeah, nice, Gwendall. Yeah, and just got a question. Compared with DeFi's aggregator, I think we understand the interactive interface of metaverse is very important. So my question is, have you considered any way or make it easier for users to use your products? Like the simple UI UX, some simple interface.
On which aspect do you ask? For the DeFi aspect, you say?
I just mean like some DeFi aggregator, like one inch.
Oh yeah. So yes, for now the goal is really to make it as easy, and really the philosophy behind the product is to be product first. To be really focused on the product and the users, and provide an experience that's as smooth as possible. So for the discovery and search, as you see, as I've shown you, the idea is really to do something that's as intuitive and smooth to use as possible. And then for what you don't see yet, but what's coming up, like the DeFi aspect, like the staking and everything, it will, the idea is really not to address crypto people, but more like the general public. So the goal is to make it as easy and accessible as possible. So we're even thinking of ways to allow people to buy lands with fiat. You start having products like this, and to make it really accessible, because that's, at the end of the day, that's really the philosophy behind the product.
Understood. Thanks.
I don't know if does it answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome.
Super good. All right. Yeah, thanks a lot again, Gwendall, and
You're
thanks,
welcome.
mentors, for the questions. If you have more questions, please shoot these questions to Gwendall on Telegram, the contact addresses he just shared. I think we can move to the next one. Esme, would you like to introduce the next project?
Sure. So next one will be an extra bonus.
You're muted, I think, Esme.
I didn't. I guess it's because of the internet. Am I sounds good right now? Can you guys hear me?
Esme, I think we can. So maybe I can make the introduction and we can move forward with the next project. So the next project is LootSwag. LootSwag is preparing or enabling the loot NFTs to have this visualization on their platform. And for that, I think we're going to have Tony make the presentation. So Tony, please come and you can share the screen and start the presentation for LootSwag.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
I'm trying to share my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
It's all good. We
it's all
can
good?
hear
Okay.
and see.
Okay, so I'll just quick walk through what is LootSwag and give some update on where we are on progress, and then yeah, we're like open to questions and discussions. So LootSwag is something we built over like past few weeks when Loot came out. You know, personally, I'm a fan of the Loot NFT, and like what amazed me was like the simplicity of you know, the idea from Loot, which is a bag with 8 words of loot or equipment, right? So, but there's no art or whatsoever. It's hard for people to visualize it. So at the time, I thought the easiest next step for people to understand Loot and to utilize this NFT is to make a visual for it. So that's the visual part. And then also, I you know, when I was thinking about this project, I was thinking, I don't think anyone should be making decisions for how, you know, the art should be interpreted. So it essentially should be an open-ended platform where people can customize their own like avatar or own like outlook. And then thirdly, is for everyone. I think that's also something unique about Loot versus all other NFT projects out there. Is although Loot, there are only 8,000. So actually, I think there are only 7,800 Loot bags out there. But they Dom, who is the founder of Loot, actually made several projects to include more people into this community. So he made more Loot, which is exactly like Loot bag, but with like unlimited number of bags. And also he made a synthetic Loot, which works for every Ethereum address. So for every, basically that means everyone who has an Ethereum address has a synthetic Loot bag inherited in their address. It's just not transferable. So essentially, you know, when we make this, we should make it work for everyone. It should be free. Obviously, you know, it's a tool. And then for NFTs, a lot of things happening today. You have to mint, and then you like people charge for a fee for it to mint. So I think that's bad for adoption because it's just, you know, sometimes if the gas fee and then the minting fee becomes very expensive, and you actually see lots of projects don't get minted for their whole like collection. So I feel this should be easy for everyone to use. And then derivatives. So building on the idea of, you know, Loot, I think one thing people got excited about this thing particularly is that it's more like a building blocks, whereas there's like the simplest definition of what NFT could be, and then let people to build stuff on top of that. So instead of the other approach, which is build a whole game or build a whole like universe and then drip down to NFTs. So when we thought about building this project, we wanted to make sure that when we build a visual or an avatar for loot, that our other projects can use these avatars for their own development later on. So these are some key thoughts when we designed this. We started around first week of September. Actually, that's when I had the idea, and then I started to work this with a couple of people. I actually participated on the Loot Hackathon and got some developers there, and we started building. So to just give more details, these are the presentation I had for Loot Hackathon. And then so most of that were just idea stage, but then obviously last week we launched the actual website, and then we got a few hundred users from the Loot community, and we have some updates later on. So this is what I had envisioned when you see a loot bag. You see these items drawn like exactly like that, and then furthermore, I feel like we need to have like a character wearing this loot, so that makes the loot bag from pure text to an actual avatar. And then furthermore, one said, I believe people should be able to customize. So here is an example of, this is an example I showed before. And here you notice for the bottom picture, I changed the helmet skin. So I haven't really changed the loot bag. The loot bag is exactly same underlying loot bag, but with a different skin for helmet, the character would look differently or slightly different. And then the idea is if you can choose a skin for any of the 8 body parts, you can, basically there's unlimited combinations of what your avatar could look like, and then eventually leads to for users to customize themselves. And then this is for how we designed it. We basically you set like a model, and then you need to standardize what are the size for each of the body parts or items, so that eventually not only our artist can design, but effectively basically all the artists can come up and design like the skins for these weapons or for this loot, how they want to interpret it, and then the idea is it should be all composable, so like people can put it up all together. And then what we want to achieve is to get to be a platform in the middle, where on the one side you have users, you have loot owners, loot owners who wants to see their own avatar or customize their own avatar, and on the other hand you have like artists who come up and design, so they can either sell for money or design for publicity. And so that was the original idea. And then basically we built it. It's already live, the simplest version. So it's lootswag.io. Anyone, it works for everyone. If you just go there, even if you don't have a loot, because everyone has a synthetic loot inherited with your Ethereum address, you can see your own avatar. And then so now we're moving to a second stage where we're building for more skins for these avatars. So these are some like possible options. So what this means is even this loot sounded like Diablo, in like a game equivalent in Diablo, but really how it looks like can really up to the how artists interpret it. It can look modern, it can look cyberpunk or whatever, futuristic. So these are some, we're in process of introducing the next set of skins. And then, yeah, so going back to derivatives, so once we have these avatars, right now they're all in 2Ds, but eventually we're looking for 3D avatars as well. This should be, we want it to be like a building block for other derivatives who can build up like on top of that. So for example, games, that's a simple one, right? So there's already a game that's developing, there's a gaming company developing an RPG game that's gonna use the pictures or the skins we came up for loot. And then there's also like the social element of it, because once people can freely customize their own avatar, they can, show off their fashion sense or whatever. We want to create like a space for that and the other things. And then here is some current updates. So this is a page where we're going to show each Ethereum address, like how many skins or characters or avatars they have. So each picture represents one loot bag, right? So for instance, in this picture, the user has 5 loot bags. Then it has 5 different characters. And then here, all of these are still under like design stage right now. But on the left side, you have sort of like a Twitter or Instagram of people sharing their like loot avatars. And I haven't really put too much thought into like what else we could put there, but as there are more games developing, it could be a page for people to see who is playing what game using the loot, or who is buying what skin with the loot, etc. Like the update info for this. And then on the right side, it's more like a home page for people to show their own avatar. And we're thinking about making more like a homepage, so you can search other people, you can go visit them, see their avatar, see their the outfit of the day, etc. So that's the idea. And yeah, that's about it. It's a very it's quite straightforward. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions.
All right, thank you, Tony. It was terrific, and it's really in a trend. Really love the skin design just mentioned. So any thoughts, ideas from mentors? How do you guys like this project? How do you guys like Luke's swag? Just feel free to unmute and give any thoughts, ideas, anything you want to share.
Hi, Tony. It's a quite nice design for the swag. So do you have the plan to expand, like for example, your swag to the other loot related projects, like loot or the other ones? Yeah.
Yes, it's actually already because the loot community is a very small community. So all the sort of the developing teams know each other. Right now, for example, Loot Exchange is already, we're working with Loot Exchange to outsource these pictures to them, so that in the future, when you buy these loot bags, you not only can see the tags, you can see, right now they're displaying loot characters, but they're already a slot reserved for loot swag, so you can see these avatars before you buy a bag, so you have a better idea of what you are buying. And there's also another game called Genesis Adventure that's going on in the loot community. So we're also deploying some avatars for them as well. And as I said, I think is really the whole point of us doing these avatars is to make more building blocks for other projects. So being open source and being open to other projects is core of what we want to do.
Yeah, I see. Mhm.
I actually, if no one else have questions, I actually have a questions for the mentors, or everyone. Is that what do you think? In the Web 3.0 world, do you see, avatars as something that I mean, obviously one, the profile pictures got popular, punk or board ape yacht club. These type of things got popular. Do you see avatars as the next trend? And also, do you feel there's a need for like a I don't know, like a social application that interacted with this type of things? Actually, I've been following the development on the NFT side, and there are actually already some good applications you can use to track, what other people are doing on NFT market. Like, for example, you can track all the punk owners, like what they are buying. So I feel, there's a new trend of social media or social platforms where you can track people's on-chain activities. But yeah, I'm just interested to see, what people feel about this space. Thanks.
It was a really new topic, right? Because loot and avatar has just risen like couple months. We're just bringing it into a boom recently, and it's really in the trend. So I would just really want to hear any thoughts from our mentors regarding the questions Tony just say about avatar and about the needs for interacting on social platforms. Anyone has any idea?
I do, Marek here. I do have some thoughts on that, actually. I think that the intersection of blockchain social projects and NFT projects is actually quite natural, is because, as you mentioned, you've kind of have built-in communities, right? Like there's communities of apes, communities of punks, communities of loot holders, right? That need to kind of congregate, get in touch, collaborate, as you are. And I think that the social and blockchain, I mean, has a massive future, and I think that NFT-based communities can be sort of like seeds or kernels that will, grow into, potentially wider social networks. So NFTs seem like a very interesting way to bootstrap social blockchain community. So if the question was if any of us think it's going to be big, I definitely am bullish on the concept.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's a very new space. So I'm still, learning a lot every day, what other people are developing and what's the trends in the market. And also I'm quite involved in the loot community also. So there's a lot of things that could happen next. I'm just gathering my thoughts on what are the good directions or good other things. But generally, initially for LootSwag, my idea was to make a marketplace for skin trading, whereas it doesn't exist on OpenSea yet. But to do that, we sort of have to create some sort of utility or application for people to need to show their avatar. And that's where we thought, a page for tracking people's activities, or especially for loot owners, will make sense. But that just leads to more directions and possibilities, which we're still, studying. Yeah, thanks for your feedback.
All right, thank you. That totally makes sense to me. And thanks for Tony's sharing, and thanks for Marek's sharing. Anyone else have any specific ideas or like any inspirations regarding this new space? If not, we're gonna leave this question open here. So like after that, you have anything come up, just feel free to tell us or tell Tony. So we will just have a free connection to all of you. So I guess that will be the end of project presentation today. So thanks for all 8 projects to do their wonderful and amazing presentation to all of us. And thanks for your demo, and thanks for your time and passions on such wonderful speeches. And thanks all of our mentors. And I guess we can move to the next part, which is the free connection time. So we will just leave the room open here for all of you to do the free chat. And if you want to just talk more regarding to specific projects or directions or any thesis or any ideas you want to hear anything about from our mentors or our projects, just feel free to unmute yourself and open the camera here. Because the time is like really close to the end. So we might probably end the party very soon. So if you guys had any specific requests or needs, just feel free to direct message us to send us your through Telegram, emails, or WeChat, any social media platforms to let us know what else can we just better address your needs and wants. And I guess that will be the end of today. And after that, I do really want to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to all of our mentors. So there are Aidan Hyman, Marek, Corey, Pigott. I haven't heard from you for a long time, but just feel free to let me know if you have any you're interested in any projects or any people, just feel free to let us know. And thanks Danley from Coin98, thanks Calvin Chu from Impossible Finance, thanks Yaoqi from Polkadot, thanks Deniz, thanks John, thanks Joseph, our founding partner, and thanks Xinshu, also our partners. I guess that will be everything of today. And later after that, we will send out a survey or a questionnaire to all of you guys, just to let you guys to say anything that you would love to know more about, like any project directions or any other details or any ideas you want to tell us. So just for us to just better help you guys to do any like ecosystem growth or project development. Like Xinshu said at the start, we IOSG are always here to help. So start from now, I guess I would just leave the room open here for all of you guys to chat and talk. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We are looking forward to meeting next time for our second Kickstarter connection party. And anything else you want to say, Gökhan?
Nope, I think it was great. Yeah, thanks everyone for the presentations. Thanks the mentors for valuable comments. We're looking forward to the next one. I think we will have this as a periodical thing for our Kickstarter. So hope to see you guys next time. And as Azmi said, we're leaving the room open. Please feel free to share any comments, questions, or contact information afterwards. Thanks a lot again.
Thank you, guys. And the room is open, so those spring day couples and any idea coalition can still just continue to happen on the chat room or you guys can just direct message yourself.